The video you're about to watch contains information related to medical treatments. This video is for informational purposes only and should not be used as a substitute for medical advice. Please consult your doctor for more information. Welcome to another episode of CP Diaries. This month we're going to be looking at COVID in our own office. I speak to colleague Josh about his experiences of juggling cerebral palsy and COVID-19. Thanks for joining us. How are you feeling after having COVID?
I'm feeling much better than I did a week ago, but I still have a lingering cough. So if I cough during the interview, don't be alarmed.
Yeah, no worries. So I can actually still remember the day you got COVID because you and I were having like a morning catch up and you were like, hey, I'm not feeling too great. I think I'm going to hold out for today and then go get a test tomorrow. And I was like, no, you need to get offline right now and take the day off. We'll be fine without you. Like, go get tested.
Yeah, that turned out to be very good advice.
I felt really good that we did that. So what was it like when you went and got tested? Did you do it from home or did you go into the testing site?
So I did a PCR because I tried to find rats and get my friends to find rats, and they were just impossible at that time. So I had to travel outside of the house, which I was a bit iffy about. I had to go to a PCR testing, and I was thinking about standing in the queue, and I was like, well, am I more likely to get it in the queue? But it was not the case.
So did you end up standing in the queue?
Yes, I had to stand in the queue. Fortunately, it was a very short queue. I was only there for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But I just social distanced and I had sanitizer and I made sure not to touch anything and I was wearing my mask. So I think that helped as well.
See, that's interesting because for me, I've done PCR tests before, but I don't think I could do standing in a queue. I think I would really struggle. And I think a lot of our listeners would struggle as well. So after you got the test and you got the results, how quickly did you get the results?
I got the results on the same day. I pretty much got the results. I got tested at about 9 and I got the results at about 4 p.m. that day.
Yeah. When you got the results, did you feel like with your CP diagnosis, did you have any extra concerns? Because there's a lot of things in the disabled community about, being higher risk for infection and having worse symptoms. Was that something on your mind?
Yeah, I did have extra concerns when I got that positive diagnosis, and I rang my GP as well as messaged our telehealth nurse straight away, and just I've just relied on advice and was told to just keep my fluids up and keep an eye on symptoms, and if I have any concerns, they were there. And also Nurse on Call was a really good service to call anytime as well.
Amy's like fantastic. I love Amy. She's so good
Yes.
to have on hand and have someone in your back pocket. So was there any particular advice she gave you that stood out to you?
I think the advice was just keep up my fluids, which I'm going to be honest, I forget to have like water. So
Yeah,
I
guilty.
set an alarm on my phone just to make sure I kept hydrated.
Was there any point at which you felt a little freaked? I think you said at one point you felt a little freaked out with some of the symptoms and you weren't sure if you'd have to go into hospital. Tell me more about that.
So at night time, when you're lying flat or when you're lying in bed, I was thinking a bit and I was like, oh, am I starting to have a bit of trouble breathing? But then I elevated my pillow. So I put one pillow under the other and I was like, I'll just sit here for a little while and try not to sleep. And that alleviated that feeling. So that was really good.
Yeah. But was there a point at which you thought you might have to call the ambulance?
Yes, that if that got any worse, I was feeling like I had to call 000. I did actually end up calling Nurse on Call, and they gave me that advice to kind of elevate the airways, and that alleviated the symptoms. So that was really good.
And I think the nurse on call thing is a really good point because I guess, again, for our community, like there might be some people who are really concerned about whether they need to call the ambulance. And I can see you still recovering there.
Yeah.
They see if like they need to call the ambulance, but at the same time, when you turn on the news, it's like, don't be too quick to call the ambulance because they're completely tapped out and under resourced. So I guess making nurse on call kind of your first point of call is a really good idea. Is there anything you would have done differently if you could do it all again? Not that you'd want to.
Yeah. If I knew that I was going to get it, I would have around the house just common cough medicine and Panadol, just in like a in case I get COVID kit. Because I didn't have any of that just lying around, and I had to rely on friends and family to drop it off at my door.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. Like, I like the whole idea of an in case you get COVID kit. It's really catchy. So, what's something people should have in there in case they get COVID kit?
Panadol is definitely good for the headaches and migraines, and also to like alleviate any kind of fever you would have, because I was getting hot and cold very sporadically. Cough medicine as well. And I also find it was good to have just a sweet lolly, just such as like a tubes or something, because some of the some of the effects you get, and it can leave a bit of a weird taste in your mouth.
Did you lose your sense of taste and smell at all?
I didn't quite lose it. However, it was a bit strange because I could taste like a metallic kind of taste in my mouth. So that's where the sweet lolly kind of came in as like a palate cleanser. And
Yeah,
then I would have that, and then I would be able to taste again. So it was really weird.
yeah, get that COVID taste out of your mouth. I haven't heard that one
Yeah.
before, but that's really interesting. It would be interesting to see if other people have had that experience. So, when did you finally become negative, and how did you get confirmation that you were negative?
So I isolated for the 7 days as told to by the Department of Health texts that I keep getting. And then I was still having a cough and experience symptoms. So I was a bit wary, and I thought I'll just wait a few days at home. So I I just rested and relaxed for a few days, hoping it would go away. And then I felt fine apart from a lingering cough.
That's good. And how are you feeling like now, a couple of weeks after? How long has it been since you had COVID?
It's probably been about 2 weeks.
Yeah. Has there been any side effects you didn't expect, or has there been results 2 weeks on that you weren't sort of prepared for? How are you feeling?
I still get like fatigue very easily. So sometimes it will get to like 4 p.m. and I'm just like, oh, I feel gassed and just really tired. And then I'll just go and take a nap.
I feel like that, and I've never had COVID. I'm starting
Yeah.
to
It's
worry I
because
had it without realizing.
yeah.
So, and were you given any medical advice for that, or have you pretty much gotten life back to normal? Are you out socializing again?
I'm socializing, but not to the level that I did when I pre-COVID.
Do you have any advice for our viewers if they have concerns or if they get COVID about how they should approach it or extra measures they can take to be safe?
If if you have concerns about either getting a positive diagnosis or if you've received that positive diagnosis, I just think it's best to either contact a health professional, contact a GP, or contact our telehealth nurse, and yeah, just let them know if you're experiencing any symptoms, and then see what they recommend.
And before I let you go, you've got some other exciting news since you're still with us, which is great. You've got your own series coming up with CPSN called Life Hacks. Tell us more about that.
Yes, I'm very excited about this series. So, in this series, I'm going to focus on some of the challenges and some of the everyday things that we may struggle with, and kind of explore the creative solutions to get around that.
So it's things like products that we can use if we have trouble opening things,
Yeah.
or other kinds of devices. What are some of the devices we can look forward to seeing on the new series?
Yeah. So one of the devices that I use often is my Handy Frank Green cup.
Nice.
So I will be telling you all about why I use that and how it helps me in my life.
Yeah. How does it help you in your life?
It's got this really handy lockable lid, which is very good for going upstairs because otherwise I will spill constantly.
Well, I can't wait to see it. When is it coming out? Do we know yet?
I am not sure yet.
Josh, thanks for joining us today. If our members need anything, they can always give us a call on our main line and talk to you or myself. Thanks for joining us today.
No worries. Happy to talk to anyone.
So if you want to share your experience or share your story, please send us a direct message. We'd love to hear your story.